Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode with me, Jenn Pike, your host, functional medicine diagnostic nutritionist and medical exercise specialist. Welcome to my YouTube show. Make sure that you hit subscribe down below so you do not miss any upcoming episodes. So today's episode is actually in response to quite a few questions. We had a lot of questions around here on YouTube, over on other platforms, asking things like herbs and mushrooms. How do you bring those in? Do they really work? And so today I'm going to share with you some of my favorite herbs, some of my favorite functional mushrooms. We're not talking about the ones maybe you did back in the day. This is a different kind of show that I love using in practice in my own body and in programs. I want to also preface this by saying I think that you should always talk to your own practitioner, to your doctor, to your own healthcare provider before starting and taking any herbs or any functional mushrooms, just to make sure that there's no contraindications with anything you're currently doing, taking, or how you are feeling. That being said, I am going to answer the questions today are what are some of my favorites to use and why? So, our hormones need a support team, and herbs can be one of our best allies. So if you've been feeling like you've been losing yourself a little bit, that the fatigue and the mood swings and the brain fog and the nights that you can't sleep are really impacting you, I want you to know there are natural ways that you can support your body. And I'm not talking a cupboard full of random supplements that you've seen online. I understand the irony. You're online watching this right now, and we're going to talk about some different things, but I'm talking about a short strategic list. And I'm talking today about things that are adaptogens to help your body adapt to stress, and medicinal mushrooms that can actually make a difference in how your body is experiencing the signs and the symptoms that you are struggling with. Now, I will say, I'm a firm believer that you should work first on healing your digestion, optimizing your gut health, supporting your minerals and your nervous system. I think that those are the most important things to be working on. But when we start to look at some products to bring into the body that can help to support or augment the lifestyle and things that you are already doing, this is where I do love to use functional mushrooms either in a powder form or a capsule, and different herbs and different tinctures and remedies that may come in a liquid form, that may come in a capsule form or in a powder form. And sometimes even we make them therapeutically in teas. So I've been using these in my own body for a very long time. I do use them quite a bit in my own practice. I share about them online quite a bit as well. But again, I will say that you should always check back with whomever you're working with who has your full health history and knows everything that is going on. I also do recommend you reach out to companies specifically and ask some of your questions. But what I love about adaptogens and mushrooms is that they can calm an overactive nervous system. They can improve your energy without feeling like you have the jitters from caffeine or the caffeine crash. And they can help to create more harmony, more equilibrium in your body when your hormones are starting to shift, when you have some gut issues that are starting to arise. And the issue with this, the problem with this is that for most women, you're so overwhelmed by the options of what to buy that you end up with, half a dozen different things. You're just listening to random information that is out there without taking the information in and then sitting back and asking yourself, is what Jenn was just talking about, did that have any resonance with me? Like, do I have that thing going on in my body? Is that what I'm struggling with? And then taking it from there, as opposed to sitting with a pen in your hands right now and making a grocery list to go buy everything I'm talking about. That is not what I want you to do. I will connect you with companies that I like because not all herbs and products are created equal. I really line myself up with companies that have very good integrity and research, that are ethical and have very good quality within their integrity. And so I will share some of those companies with you, and there are codes you can use, but I also encourage you to go and do your own research and to know your body right now. Right now, how you're feeling and what is going on. Most of you who come to my show, whether it's here or to the podcast, you are somewhere between your 30s and into your 60s. And you may be living with hormonal changes that are happening in terms of estrogen that is either riding high or starting to drop, progesterone that has just left the building because you're not ovulating anymore, dysregulated cortisol patterns. We always say to women like, oh, you've got to lower your cortisol is high. How do we know that? Just because we can be presenting with high cortisol doesn't mean that's actually what is happening behind the scenes. But understanding that we definitely can have dysregulated cortisol patterning, mean that we can have spikes, we can have some lows. Oftentimes our blood sugar is going to be connected to that. And this can leave us with major cravings, energy dips throughout the day, feeling wired at night, but exhausted. Like your body is physically exhausted, but your brain and your nervous system are just like a monkey in a million different directions, and then feeling exhausted in the morning when you wake up. So we understand the impact of things like our sleep and our body's nutrient level, vitamins and minerals and protein and carbohydrates and fats and fibers as a whole. This is how we move through life. This is how we get energy. This is also how we recover. This is how we repair. And when we don't have a lot of these things in place, it becomes the perfect storm for feeling burned out, for feeling irritated, and quite honestly, just feeling off in your body. And this is where I find that adaptogens and mushrooms can make a big difference. The short list of the ones that I would say in preparing this episode today, I see the best benefits for women. Reishi is probably my favorite because it helps to support calming the nervous system. It also supports your immune health, and it can help with your sleep quality. I personally take 2 Reishi every single night. I also take magnesium in the evening. I do cycle oral micronized progesterone partway through my cycle. So from days 14 to 28, I take that. That's what works well for my body. That's not telling you to go and do that. If I am having a difficult time sleeping, like I'm that kind of mom where if my kids are going through it, I'm going through it. I'm like feeling what's going on in their little heart. And sometimes that can really impact me. I have some clients I'm working with that are going through hard things in their health and in their life right now, and that can come to bed with me. And so I also may use something called valerian, which is an herb to help to ground my system and to help me sleep better. Turkey tail is another one. Turkey tail is a mushroom that is like the superstar in terms of gut and immune support. Really helpful if you've had a chronic illness, really helpful if you have an autoimmune condition going on, really helpful if you've been told that you have leaky gut, you've got SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, you've had chronic stress for a period of time. It's really helpful to be used to support that gut healing. So if I have clients that I'm working with, and maybe in a lot of clients, I would use different products that had, say, colostrum, which is dairy-based, and that client can't manage that, turkey tail is something that I would bring in. The other one is cordyceps. I love cordyceps because cordyceps boost your body's stamina, boost your body's energy without overstimulating your body and overstimulating your adrenals. So I typically will have 2 capsules of cordyceps before I'm going to go and teach one of my classes inside of my fitness studio synced, or if I'm going to go and do a more challenging workout with my weights, not when I go out on my walk. My son is a rep hockey player. My son uses cordyceps before his practices and before his games, and he actually uses the turkey tail and the reishi to help to calm his body post-game and post-practice. So cordyceps is another one that I really love. So those would probably be my top 3 mushrooms for most people: reishi, turkey tail, and cordyceps. And then I'd be remiss to not talk about lion's mane, because from a brain health perspective, from a neurocognitive health perspective, focus, lion's mane is the cat's ass if that is an area that you struggle with. So I like lion's mane for most people, I think works really well in the morning, even mid-morning if you start to feel that energy dip and you're thinking, I need to go get another coffee or another latte. Using some really good quality lion's mane can 100% help that. My husband, I have him take lion's mane every single day. Lion's mane, turmeric, and saffron for his brain health, as well as omega-3s, because there is dementia and Alzheimer's on both sides of his family, his grandmother on his dad's side and his mother on his side. And so, he does extra things to take care of the brain and his body. And this may be for you as well too. When we're talking about herbs, Holy Basil is just the queen. This is Tulsi. Why do I love this herb so much? I love it because you can take it, in supplemental form. You can also brew it as a tea. It supports mood stability. It helps to reduce anxiety. It helps to create more balance in your adrenals in terms of cortisol production and regulation. Tulsi to me is like a hug for the body, and it has a really beautiful energy to it. And what I mean by that is sometimes we can take certain things like ginseng is an example, forms of ginseng like Panax ginseng, and it can make us feel like, a little anxious and a little fluttery. Tulsi is just this beautifully grounding. It's a very feminine herb, and I find when you give that to women, it helps to put them back in their body. I love giving this to women in the morning if they're just like all over the place and their energy is frenetic. But in the evening, you can have that with that reishi to help to calm the system down. The other herb that I love is valerian. And so Valerian Root, very powerful for sleep. This is what I was talking to you about. If I'm just kind of going through it and my mind is occupied, valerian is beautiful at helping you to fall asleep and to stay asleep. And when you take valerian specifically with magnesium, and usually a magnesium bisglycinate works really well, you can oftentimes, I'm not going to say everyone because I would hate to be like, go and buy this and take it and you're all going to sleep. And then you try it and you're like, it didn't work. Number one, you can't just take it once. So, give yourself a good 10 to 14 days when you're really trying something. Get yourself to bed earlier, like do all the things you need to do to support sleep, and then use the valerian and the magnesium. And then there's Quai. So Quai is one, traditionally it's used for menstrual support and also menopause support because it helps with hormonal balance. I hate to use that word balance, especially like if you're in perimenopause, like we're not balancing the hormones again. We're finding a new norm, but it can create this homeostasis in the body when everything feels like it's off kilter. And what's really good with Quai is it can help with hot flashes. And so can sage, black cohosh. Like those are herbs that can tend to work really well for the woman who has a lot of excess heat in her body. And the reason she's not sleeping is because she is on fire. In the middle of the night, there's literally steam coming off of her. That's when things like Quai, sage, and black cohosh can help. I do find that combination herbs for women around perimenopause and menopause can be really good. There's a Canadian company I love called St. Francis Herb Farm. We'll link it up below for you. If you're in the US, Gaia Herbs is one that I really like and have had a lot of success down there as well too. And if you're somewhere else in the world, I would look at the combination of the ingredients in those products and then see if you can find that in Europe or otherwise. When we talk about how to actually bring these in and to do this in a smart way, I always say start slow, like start low and slow and then titrate up. I would not go and take all of the things that I just talked about at once. You're never going to know if anything supported you, and if it did, what worked, or something irritates you, how are you going to know what it is? So I would just start to cycle your adaptogens in. So maybe you start with the reishi and you're going to do that for a little bit and just kind of notice. A lot of times women will say like, I tried it and I noticed nothing. And I'm like, okay, but is that true? Do you think you felt nothing because you didn't fall asleep and stay asleep for 9 hours? If you really can sit and look at your symptoms and track this, were you a little less edgy? Did it take you only 15 minutes to fall asleep instead of 25 minutes to fall asleep? Did you wake 3 times instead of 4 times? Did you wake up with like the tiniest bit of a better mood than you did previously? You're not going to find something unless we're tranquilizing you that is just like, bam, going to work right out of the gates overnight. I think they call that NyQuil or Gravol or horse tranquilizer, and we do not want to subscribe to using that, which PS, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit down below and make sure you subscribe. You can also like cycle those adaptogens. So you can just do one for a period of time and then cycle them out. I take oftentimes a seasonal approach. So I'll use 2 or 3 mushrooms in the summer, switch it up in the fall. I'm a very cyclical type of person. That really, I just love it. It feels really good in my body. I'm also a Virgo and earth sign, so maybe that's why I like to be connected to the seasons. But here's what I would say overall, is that if you start to bring some of these in, the biggest things that I notice in clients, your energy and focus probably going to start to improve within the first couple of weeks. Your sleep and your mood, that I find takes a little longer, more towards kind of the 6 to 8 week mark. And hormone related improvements, usually 2 to 3 months. And that's because for most women, you've got to go through, generally 90 to 100 days, that full folliculogenesis cycle and phase before the body is in a rhythm with the new things that you're doing. The ovaries get the message because your nervous system has to talk to them ovaries, and then your body has the response in a positive direction. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in 5 days. It's not all going to happen in 10 days and even 30 days. So if you are saying yes to taking something or doing something, anything, any program, protocol, anything that you are taking in as advice and education, you have got to not double down on going harder, but just be consistent. Can you start something and stick with it and see it all the way through? That's how you're going to know if it's supporting your body. So I hear from women all the time. Reishi helped to calm me down. Valerian helped me sleep. Quai black cohosh and sage helped to eliminate my hot flashes. Like it happens. It happens all the time. Now, is that for every single woman? No. And here's what's challenging about being online, whether it's here on YouTube or it's in email or it's anywhere else. You can't take what one person is saying as the gospel for all of you. So you gather the information, you apply it to your own resonance of like, does that feel it's what I need? Does my intuition say, like, let's lean in? Go talk to your healthcare provider and then make an educated decision for yourself. And it's just important that we keep having these conversations because they matter. Your stories matter. The questions that you ask matter. They also help to show you that you are not alone by yourself and that these small, very targeted changes can really add up over time. So if you want to explore any of the herbs or the mushrooms I've talked about, my favorite mushroom company is called Versio Wellness. They are also a Canadian-based company. I have linked their info up for you down below, and you can use the discount code that is there. And then my favorite herbal company here in Canada, as I said, is St. Francis Herb Farm. All their info is down below. And if you're in the US, I like Gaia. I don't have a mushroom company for you in the US. Maybe some of you can let me know some good ones in the comments below. But I just want you to start simple. Stay consistent, give your hormones the support team that they deserve. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you back here next time.